Oh, have we got some things to talk about today? Okay, let's talk about Liverpool versus Newcastle. First of all, we need to talk about that game. First of all, we're going to get that one out of the way. We're going to talk about some other things as well, including midfielders and a midfielder who's apparently on his way to Liverpool already, might already be there. We'll talk all about that through this video as well. Please let me know what your thoughts and feelings and just general comments, what they might have been about the game last night. We're going to talk about all the talking points that are coming up as well. I just wanted to do a living room chill video today, just sitting on the couch, just coming from work, and I just wanted to talk about this game as well. Stayed up and watched it last night. I nearly bailed on it around the 95th minute, and I was like, ah, Christ, it's going to be another draw. I'm glad I stuck it out, and it ends up being one of those, and especially the way that second goal was taken for Liverpool, it was a really good way for us to actually get that victory against what was difficult opposition. I'm not going to disrespect Newcastle a great deal because I understand why they ended up playing the way that they played. They ended up they get the goal and it's a mistake that I think it was a mistake by Trent Alexander-Arnold at first, which people are criticising for. Anybody could make that mistake. It is what it is, of losing the possession, and it was a very very quick turnover from Newcastle. It was a game that is playing out a lot like Liverpool games are playing out this season a lot. Take away the Bournemouth game. This was kind of like reverting back to type, as they would say. Whereas you look at, we dominate possession. We are dominating the possession. We dominate the opposition in that respect, but we're not like absolutely pummeling them. We're not, we're not going to be putting like two, three, four, five goals against every single opponent we come up against. Even when Darwin comes back and when we get Jota back and Thiago as well, when we get all these players back, it doesn't mean that we're going to go out there and smash teams left, right, and centre. And Newcastle proved that by how they played as well. A lot of people slagging off how Newcastle played, and calling it the dark arts, and maybe they're right. But I understand why they did that. I understand they were wanting the result more than anything. They were wanting to not lose that game more than anything. If they could have won it, that's fantastic for Newcastle. If they draw the game, that's still a good result, and they would have been one of the unbeaten teams in the league as well. To lose the game as they did, they're going to be very, very disappointed in how that's actually gone. But they will probably take some good pride out of what they actually tried to do. That's up to them, And I like I said, I understand it. I understand what they were going for. Isak scored a very, very good goal. His debut goal, he got clearance to play in the game quite late on in the afternoon, I think it was, and he made his start. And I got to say about Isak, I've never seen him play with my own two eyes, apart from maybe a couple of highlights here or there. I've never seen him play a full game of football that I remember when he was at. Cool, where was he at? Is he at Sociedad in La Liga? The guy looks like he's going to be a handful. He does. He looks the way he moves for such a big guy. Someone who's I think he's either 6'4" or 6'5". I don't know which one it is. He's got good pace, good feet. He's got good like agility as well, and he's got a good shot on him. And he showed it twice. We were very very lucky about the second one, in my opinion. By the looks of it, I looked over it again when I watched Match of the Day. I've just literally watched Match of the Day highlights of our game just as I came in from work because I wanted to see like what was the offside because it was quite a bit of a I was quite frustrated watching the game when it was live. Didn't really pay attention to the offside call, to be honest, and it looks literally like well, they said it on Match of the Day that it was like he's offside by a kneecap. That's so tight. It really, really is. It's so tight, such a tight decision. It could have gone either way. They could have given it and given the striker, like they used to with offsides and stuff like that, given the benefit of the doubt, and that could have been 2-0. It actually did flash up on my phone when the game was live, saying, I think it was either SofaScore or FOTMob, whatever it was. It flashed up as well, saying that it's 2-0, and I was like, no, 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 no. And then it actually, it went back and said, VAR has overturned that one. It goes back to 1-0. But he looks, and you got to remember as well, like they didn't have Saint Maximan, they didn't have Callum Wilson, they didn't have Bruno Guimaraes. Is that his name? I actually can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure that's his name. They had a midfield of Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, And like yeah, so I'm pretty sure they were off. They were on the injury bench. Anyway, they weren't actually on the bench at all, were they? So they got Chris Wood got subbed on. Elliot Anderson, Jacob Murphy wasn't anyone that really. I don't know why they didn't start like Sven Botman and Fabian Schär, and they went with Lascelles and Dan Burn. I mean, don't get me wrong, they played very, very well. They did play very, very well. That Newcastle team probably actually deserved, on the whole, like run of the game. They probably actually deserved to have some sort like a point at least or something from that game. The way that we played was very Liverpool at the moment. We are very, possession heavy, a lot of shots and not many on target. 23 or 24 shots in this game and like six of them on target. It's, you're having all these chances and they're just not actually going on target. So it's like we've got to become much more clinical. I'm not saying that we're going to get, 23 shots and like 21 of them are on target and we end up scoring like friggin' 15 goals. No, that's just totally unrealistic, and that's not what it's going to be like at the top level, at the highest level of football. But we need to be more clinical with the chances that we get, and maybe we get that clinicalism. I hope that's a word. When Darwin comes back and he starts playing, because he's a very clinical finisher when he gets in the right positions. So maybe that's something that we can look forward to in that respect. The first goal, and I have to highlight Harvey Elliott, and he's been highlighted by everybody, but it needs saying. Harvey Elliott right now is probably looking like he's Liverpool's player of the season. Like right now, as it stands at this moment in time, it actually does look like that Harvey Elliott is looking like he's going to be one of our players of the season. If he continues that, amazing, absolutely fantastic. There will probably be drop offs at some point. He's a young lad as well. He's got a lot of time to develop. But what I see from him in central midfield or in that midfield area is someone who wants the ball, someone who's not afraid of taking that ball, taking players on, not afraid to go on a run, a good quick run. He's got some good pace. He's not the quickest player alive, but he's got good pace for sure. But he's not afraid to turn back, make a pass, but make himself available for the return pass. So maybe playing 1-2s, which you saw quite a lot of. And you see quite a lot of in Harvey Elliott's game. He wants that ball. He doesn't just want to turn back and pass backwards to the defense and stuff like that. He wants to keep that ball moving forward, and you see it all the time with him. He's always if he's moving himself, he's moving forward, or he's trying to find a way to move forward. If he's got the ball, he's trying to progress the play, with the ball, trying to move it forward as well. And you saw that for whether he doesn't have direct like assists for the goals, but without him the goals don't happen. So like I'm really 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 happy with Harvey Elliott, and I just hope it continues for the lad, because he's a fantastic ray of sunshine in our team, and he's just electric in midfield. He looks like he's quite a slight player, quite a small player, but in small packages you can get some of the strongest things, and he looks like he's physically getting stronger. He looks very, very mobile, low centre of gravity, the way he moves, in tight spaces, the passing ability he's got, the shooting ability he's got. Like, he's got a good shot on him as well. We saw it against Bournemouth. A very, very good first time finish from him. You see flashes of it every now and again. He pops up in these areas where he can take a shot from distance or just outside or inside the box. And he's very, very good at that as well. Really, really good. I was impressed with Firmino's finish as well for the first goal. Really nice, cool finish across the box. Again, something that was, set up first off by Harvey Elliott, slid in by Mohamed Salah, who I felt had a good game as well in terms of, I think he's ended up with 2 assists in this game as well. Luis Diaz was a live wire as well. And it was just really, if the game had ended 1-1, it's disappointing, because then you're looking at like, man, we won't have taken many points here, like in the opening couple of games. Now it looks a lot better in terms of just, we've got 8 points right now. We're still far behind the likes of Arsenal, City, not too far behind Tottenham, and just a little bit behind Brighton at the moment. We sit 5th in the league with a +9 of goal difference. The only team that's got a better one is Man City, obviously with Erling Haaland scoring another hat-trick last night against Forest, I think it was. But regardless of any of that, I'm just focusing on Liverpool at the moment, and things can turn around much, like, quite quickly, depending on the results that you get as well. And, that second goal for Liverpool, right? The things that we need to talk about before we actually talk about the goal is this, this whole plus 5 minutes at the end of, injury time, plus 5 minutes after 90 minutes. So, you need to look at the fact that a lot of these Newcastle players were taking liberties by the bucket load of what they were doing, going down with cramp and all this sort of stuff. And then obviously you see Nick Pope going down as well, and you're just thinking, right, it says it's a minimum of 5 minutes. That's what it is, and anyone that is, so I'm 34 years old, right? I lived through the Fergie era of Fergie time, as it was called. Now we've got a little bit of Yergy time. I'm all right with it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But it doesn't just come from nowhere. Whereas Fergie time did sometimes just come from nowhere. Didn't always have a basis of like, where's all this time come from? And you could go, oh, it came from here. This is where it came from for us. It's a minimum of 5 minutes. You're getting players dropping left, right, and centre, and all this time is just them trying to time waste and get to the 95 minutes and get the referee to blow the whistle. Obviously, in this instant, that didn't happen. And we ended up scoring a goal from the resulting corner, which was taken by Milner. It was headed forward by Joe Gomez, I believe, if I got the numbers right as well. Headed forward by Joe Gomez. It comes off, I think, Salah, maybe twice. I think Salah tries to head it twice. The second time he touches it, I think it comes off like a shoulder or around this sort of area here. And Fabio Carvalho just absolutely blasts it into the crossbar, and it bounces off and goes in. And it's absolute scenes. 2-0 to Liverpool. We've ended up winning the game with pretty much, I think it was the last kick of the game. I think they maybe took a kick off or whatever. I was celebrating a little bit too hard, I'll be honest. I don't entirely remember the end of the game. But that's just a showcase of you never give up, you always keep going, you always keep trying, and that's the Liverpool that we know. Now, there are negatives to this performance, of course there is. We shouldn't be getting ourselves into this position where we're having to rely on 98th minute winners or anything like that. Like, we are a very good quality team, we've got very good quality players. We came up against a very difficult team that wanted to stifle us, and this is what I said earlier in the video about I can understand why Newcastle did what they did in the terms of the way that they played. They weren't looking to necessarily beat Liverpool. They were looking for a result. And a result for Newcastle would have been a win or a draw. A draw would have been the most likely thing for them to happen, and Newcastle would walk away from that from Anfield, and they'd be like, we're happy with that, we've got the point. If they'd have walked out of there with 3 points, Newcastle would have been ecstatic, the game plans worked as exactly as they wanted it to. If they'd have walked out of there with a 1-0, Eddie Howe, Newcastle fans, everybody, like pundits, and that would be like, it's a masterstroke by Eddie Howe. Now that it's gone the other way, Liverpool end up winning 2-1, and we get a 98th, 97th or 98th minute winner and stuff like that. And now they're calling it the dark arts, and it's not very good football. It's not a good advertisement for the game. I spoke to someone at work today, and they were who is friends. Like, I think he watched the game with a Newcastle fan as well, and they were just like, it was a very difficult game to watch. Newcastle don't really respect football and that, and I was like, I disagree. It's not, we've seen the likes of Jose Mourinho, one of the biggest managers that's been in football in the modern era. And we've seen Mourinho, like, do these bloody park the bus, masterclasses against certain teams and stuff like that as well. It's a style of play. People call it anti-football. And to a point it is, but you also can't take away from, like, even look at likes of Diego Simeone. Antonio Conte to a certain degree as well. All they want to do is stifle the opposition, but the most important thing for them is some form of a result. It doesn't necessarily. You can then use the comparison of Arsene Wenger in the latter years of him at Arsenal, where they could play beautiful football. They could play some of the best football that you'd seen, which actually maybe saw them christened the English Barcelona at one point. But if you're not winning things and stuff like that as well, which at some point, I know Arsenal won like a couple of or a few FA Cups at least. But if you're not winning things like leagues and you're not winning like European competitions and stuff like that as well, you can play all the beautiful football that you want. when you come up against a team that is set up to stifle you and maybe just wants to nick a 1-0, if they can get a 2-0, whoa, fantastic. Like, how do you if all you know is how to play passing or the old tiki taka football? I remember Barcelona getting beat by Celtic like years ago, and that was Pep's I think it was Pep's Barcelona against Celtic in the Champions League, and I think like Celtic had very like some of the most minimal possession that I've ever seen, and I think they beat, I can't remember if they knocked them out, but they beat Barcelona in a Champions League game. I remember it. It was ages ago, or let's say it was ages ago. I'm gonna say it was like maybe like 8, 9, 10 years ago. Whenever that was, anyway. You're talking about a Barcelona that is one of the most revered teams in football to exist. You can play the most beautiful football that has ever existed, but if your team comes up that wants to stop you from playing that style, stifle you, get a little bit dirty, get you, kick you up a little bit or whatever it might be, it's the result for them that matters. I'm not saying that's what Eddie Howe necessarily did and said, listen, if we get a goal here, we're just going to sit back and, all that sort of stuff. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't know those sorts of conversations. Obviously, I'm not privy to that sort of thing. I'm not on their level, nowhere near. But I understand. This is what I mean. I don't get angry about how they played because they played to their strengths. They took what are our strengths and they stifled us, and we had to work so hard to get the goals that we did. Obviously, it's great we walk out 2-1 winners, 3 more points in the bag. We got Everton coming up at the weekend, I believe. Let me just double check on this one. Yeah, Everton. We are the early kickoff on Saturday, 12:30, at Goodison Park as well, and they haven't won yet. Anthony Gordon is he seems to be the guy that if anyone's doing anything attacking wise, Anthony Gordon's going to be someone to look out for. Look, it's going to be a difficult game anyway, but it's much better for us now that we've actually, we've thrashed a team in Bournemouth and scored a lot of goals, and now we've had to come back again. And there was not a weird stat, but quite a shocking stat that it says I think in like 9 games that we've played, or in our last 9 games, we've gone behind first in in 8 of those games. It's not a great start, really, and I don't know why that's started to come in. Like why we can't impose our will or the way that we play. We can't impose it on the opposition like we have done maybe in recent years as well. Maybe people like Allison has said, maybe it's a sign that teams are figuring us out and they're coming up with what I would call an antidote to how we play, and they want to find a way to get a result. Newcastle almost did it. Credit to them for trying. We move on. We got Everton at the weekend. We've also now got Jordan Henderson with a injured hamstring of some sort as well, which has triggered Liverpool to go out and actually try and get a midfielder on deadline day, which is what we're at now. It's like nearly 5 o'clock in the UK at the moment. We're at 5 p.m. in the UK, which means there's 6 hours of the transfer window open, as much as that is, stuck to and all that sort of business. And Arthur Melo from Juventus is the player who is apparently either on a plane or he's been on a plane and he's coming to Liverpool, and that deal will be done. I have no confirmation of that deal actually being done like as it is right now. I might publish this video and it go and during the publishing of that video, maybe it says that he's going to be confirmed. I don't know anything about this player apart from I think he's a player that went to Barcelona. I don't remember him doing a great deal there. Went to Juventus, and I think that was something to do with was there a swap deal between like Juventus and Barcelona with Miralem Pjanic as well, and then Arthur went to Juventus. I don't remember seeing Arthur play much for Juventus. People saying about he's got quite a bad injury record. The positives, excuse me. The positives sound like, or the positive thing that I've seen is that they say he's in the mould or a similar type of player like Thiago. If he's anywhere like Thiago, then great. He's on loan. There's no obligation to buy or anything like that. Great. That's brilliant. If he can offer us something, great. That's brilliant. But if he ends up being someone else that's going to be injured in an injury-ravaged team as well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I'm gonna wait and see what happens with this player. It looks like it's a dead cert for it to be. He is coming on loan for Liverpool. It's another body in the midfield. All I can hope for is that he comes in and he does something good. He does maybe some good stuff, good performances or something like that. But I really don't know what to expect. I don't know the player. I don't remember watching him play at any point or anything like that. I can't. I'm very much about like the eye test when it comes to a new player coming in. Stats and historical things don't matter. It is what you do for us when you come to us, and that's what it is for me. I will judge with my eyes and what I see. If he's not starting games or anything like that, or if he's not coming in off the bench like quite regularly, then it kind of shows me what Klopp might think of that player anyway. And maybe this is just a sign of Liverpool bringing someone in just to bring someone in, and I don't necessarily like that because it kind of points to a lack of planning in some ways. But fingers crossed that this Arthur, he comes in. I think he's still quite young, maybe 26 years old or something like that. I hope he can come in and do something for us, and in the same breath, I hope that Jordan Henderson isn't going to be out for too long either, because there's a lot of competitions coming up. I didn't even realise until yesterday, I think it was, that the Champions League and all that lot is starting next week, and I'm like, what? And then I also forgot, the World Cup is coming up in it's coming up in November, I think it is. Man, it's going to be manic. I think we got like 18 games to play before the World Cup, which is like 2.5 months or 2 months, something like that, whatever it is. It's a crazy amount of games to play in such a short amount of time. Fingers crossed in every single sense that like players start coming back fit, and obviously I think Darwin is going to be available against Everton. I imagine we'll see some rotation there as well, but hey, we'll see what happens from there. Look, I have waffled on for so long. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go make some food and maybe have a bit of a lie down because I am absolutely knackered. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do feel free to give it a like. Subscribe if you're new around here if you would like to. You certainly don't have to if you don't want to. Thanks very much for watching. Do take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you later.